600 meters below the surface, where sunlight never reaches, there is a fish with a see-through head. You can literally look through its skull and watch its brain sitting right there, out in the open. Scientists spent decades trying to figure out why. And when they finally did, the answer was stranger than the fish itself. The fish is called the barrelly. Its scientific name is Macropinna microstoma, but nobody calls it that. It is about 6 inches long, roughly the size of your hand. And it lives deeper in the ocean than most humans will ever go in their entire lives. We are talking 600 to 800 meters below the surface. To give you an idea of how deep that is, take the tallest building in the world, stack another one on top of it, and you still would not reach where this fish lives. Down there, everything is pitch black. Sunlight cannot reach that far. The water is freezing cold, and the pressure would crush a human body like a soda can. Nothing about that environment is friendly to life. And yet, floating in that darkness is this tiny little fish with a head made of see-through jelly. Now, the deep ocean is full of weird creatures. There are fish with teeth longer than their own bodies, squid that light up like Christmas trees, worms that survive by eating the bones of dead whales. Weird is normal down there. But the barrelly takes it to a completely different level, because it is not just the transparent head that makes this fish so special. What is happening inside that head changes everything we thought we knew about how fish see, how they hunt, and how they stay alive in a place where almost nothing survives. And the wildest part of this whole story, scientists had this fish in their hands for 70 straight years, and they got nearly everything about it wrong. Every research paper, every diagram, every description of how this fish worked was based on broken, destroyed specimens that fell apart on the trip up from the deep. It was not until a robot camera went down to film one alive that anyone realized what was actually going on inside that see-through skull. But before we get to that discovery, you need to understand the eyes, because the eyes are where this story goes from weird to absolutely mind-blowing. Take a good look at a picture of a barrelly fish. Right there on the front of its face, you will see 2 small dark spots that look exactly like eyes. They sit right where eyes should sit. They are shaped like eyes. Everything about them says eyes. They are not eyes. They are nostrils. The fish uses them to smell things, not to see things. Its real eyes are inside the transparent dome. 2 glowing green tubes that point straight up through the top of its head. They sit deep inside the clear fluid that fills the dome, and they glow this eerie, bright green color because of a special pigment that filters light. Now, these are not normal fish eyes, not even close. They are shaped like tiny telescopes. Each one is built to collect as much light as it possibly can in a world where light barely exists. At 700 meters below the surface, the only glow comes from other deep-sea creatures that produce their own light. That faint shimmer is all the barrelly has to work with, and its telescope eyes are designed to catch every single tiny flash of it. For decades, scientists believed those tube-shaped eyes were completely locked in place, could not move, could not rotate. The accepted theory went like this. The fish floats perfectly still in the deep water, looks straight up through the top of its head, spots the dark shadow of prey drifting above it against the faint glow, and then moves in to eat. Simple enough. That was the accepted science for 70 years. It was in the textbooks. It was in the papers. And then a deep sea robot proved every single one of them wrong. In 2009, a research team from the Monterey Bay Aquarium Research Institute sent a remotely operated vehicle down to 800 meters. and for the first time in history, they watched a living barrel eye in its natural environment, completely untouched, completely intact. The eyes were not locked in place. They could rotate. The barrel eye could shift those bright green tubes from pointing straight up to pointing straight forward. It did this when it spotted food nearby, tilting its eyes down so it could actually see its own mouth while it was eating. Think about that for a second. One single dive with a robot camera corrected 70 years of research. Every paper ever published about how this fish sees the world had it wrong. But knowing how the eyes move only opened up an even bigger question. What exactly is this fish eating that requires rotating telescope eyes, night vision pigment, and a skull built like a suit of armor? The answer is the most insane part of this entire story. The barrel eye does not chase anything. It does not dart after prey. It does not ambush. It barely moves at all. Most of the time, this fish just hangs there in the water, completely motionless. Its wide, flat fins hold it in place like a tiny helicopter hovering in the dark. No movement, no sound, just floating. And while it floats, those bright green eyes are locked upward, scanning the water above for any sign of a shadow. What it is looking for are tiny animals, small crustaceans and zooplankton, little creatures drifting slowly through the water column above. But the barrel eye does not catch them swimming free in open water. That would be too easy and too normal for a fish this strange. The barrel eye steals its food from one of the most dangerous creatures in the entire ocean, siphonophores. They look a lot like jellyfish, but they are actually colonies made up of thousands of tiny organisms all connected together, working as one body. Some of these siphonophores trail stinging tentacles that stretch over 30 feet long. Small animals that drift into those tentacles get trapped, stung, and paralyzed. They cannot escape. The barrel eye sees this happening from below. It watches the small animals get stuck in the tentacles, and then it swims up, moves in between those stinging threads, picks off the trapped food piece by piece, and eats it. That is like walking into a room full of electric fences just to grab a sandwich off the table. And those tentacles are no joke. They are loaded with stinging cells that inject venom on contact. They cause real damage to soft tissue. Any normal fish that tried this would get stung in the eyes and go blind within seconds. And the eyes are the most sensitive, most exposed part of any fish. Which brings us right back to the transparent head. That see-through dome covering the barrel eye's skull is not just some weird decoration. It is a shield, a biological helmet. The clear fluid inside that dome protects the fish's eyes from the stinging cells on the siphonophore's tentacles. The barrel eye can shove its face directly into a tangled web of venomous threads, steal the food, and swim away completely unharmed. Because its most important organs are sealed behind a living, see-through windshield. The transparent skull is not a random accident. It is not a glitch in evolution. It is the entire point of this animal's design. Evolution looked at the problem of eating food that is guarded by venomous tentacles and said, all right, we will build a see-through bulletproof helmet around the brain. And that green pigment in the eyes? That is the final piece. It filters out all the random background glow in the deep sea so the fish can tell the difference between meaningless light and the actual shadow of real food passing above. Built-in night vision goggles with a venom-proof case. But the story of the barrel eye does not end with how it hunts. Because the world this fish calls home is stranger than most people can even imagine. At 600 to 800 meters below the surface, you enter what scientists call the twilight zone. No sunlight can reach this deep. The temperature hovers just above freezing. The pressure down here is roughly 80 times stronger than what you feel standing on a beach on a normal day. Most living things would die instantly in this environment. The creatures that survive here have spent millions of years evolving specifically for it. And every single one of them is bizarre. There are fish with completely transparent bodies, shrimp that spit glowing clouds to confuse anything trying to eat them, jellyfish that pulse with bright blue light as they drift through the blackness. Down here, bioluminescence is everywhere. Animals glow to attract mates, to scare off enemies, to lure food close enough to grab. The barrel eye uses all of that glow to its advantage. When a small animal drifts between the barrel eye and a glowing creature above, it blocks some of that faint light and creates a tiny, dark silhouette. That shadow is the dinner bell. That is the signal that tells the barrel-eye food is right there, close enough to grab. The entire hunting system depends on reading tiny shadows in near total darkness. No speed, no aggression, no chasing. Just patience, total silence, and a pair of telescope eyes pointed straight up, waiting for exactly the right shadow to cross the line of sight. The barrel eye also burns almost no energy. Down at those depths, food shows up rarely. You cannot waste calories swimming around searching for a meal that might not be there. So this fish just stays still. It waits, sometimes for hours at a time. And when the right moment finally comes, it moves once, eats, and goes right back to floating in the darkness. It is one of the most energy-efficient predators in the entire ocean. A fish that turned doing absolutely nothing into a survival strategy, and it has been doing it successfully for longer than humans have existed. But the real twist in this whole story is not about the fish at all. It is about us, and how badly we got everything wrong for almost a century. Back in 1939, a marine biologist named Wilton Chapman became the first person to officially describe the barrel-eye. He studied specimens that deep-sea fishing nets had dragged up from the bottom. He drew careful diagrams. He published detailed papers. He put this strange little fish on the map for the scientific world. But every single specimen Chapman studied was already destroyed before he ever touched it. Here is the problem. That transparent dome cannot survive the pressure change between 800 meters deep and the surface. The moment a barrel eye gets pulled up in a trawling net, the pressure drops, and that delicate dome collapses in on itself. The clear fluid drains out. The head caves in and flattens. By the time the fish reaches a laboratory table, it looks like a completely different animal. A mangled, ugly little thing with no dome, no fluid, and two weird tube-shaped eyes poking out of a ruined head. So for 70 years, that is what scientists thought the barrel eye looked like. A flat-headed deep-sea fish with strange tubular eyes. Nobody knew there was a dome. Nobody knew the eyes could rotate. Nobody understood the siphonophore connection or the venom shield or any of the things that make this fish remarkable. Every illustration in every textbook was wrong, and nobody had any reason to question it because nobody had ever seen a living barrel eye with the dome still intact. That all changed when the Monterey Bay Aquarium Research Institute sent their deep sea cameras down. They first spotted one in 2004, and then, in 2009, they filmed a barrel eye up close with a remotely operated vehicle. The footage showed the dome fully inflated, the green eyes glowing bright, and the fish hovering perfectly still in the black water like a tiny alien spaceship. Bruce Robison, the lead researcher on the project, described it as one of the most remarkable observations in deep-sea science. 7 decades of wrong answers, corrected by 1 dive and 1 camera. And that raises the biggest question of all. Scientists estimate that over 80% of the ocean has never been explored. Not mapped, not observed, not visited by any camera or submersible or human being. The barrel was hiding a transparent skull just 800 meters down, and it took us 70 years to notice. Think about what might be swimming at 2,000 meters, or 5,000 meters, or in the deep ocean trenches at 10,000 meters where no camera has ever reached. There could be creatures down there with adaptations just as extreme as the barrel. Maybe even stranger, just waiting for the right robot to finally go deep enough to find them. The barrel was just the beginning. One small 6-inch fish proved that the ocean still has secrets we have not even started to uncover. And every time a submersible goes a little deeper, there is a real chance it films something that rewrites everything we thought we knew. If you want to see another deep-sea creature just as strange as this one, that video is on screen right now. Subscribe so you catch the next one.